Every long-term partnership is kind of like a journey. It's got its smooth highways for sure, but also some unexpected detours and, yeah, some really tough hills to climb. So today, we're going to look at that whole map, from the common struggles couples face to the difficult crossroads of divorce and what the research tells us about the road ahead.
So what's the actual secret to making it work for a lifetime? Is it, finding that one perfect person? Or maybe never ever fighting? Having all the same hobbies? Well, it turns out the answer might not be what you think.
Because here's the thing, the goal isn't to have zero problems. That's just not realistic. The real secret, the real skill, is getting good at navigating the challenges together. It's about turning those moments that feel like a breaking point into a chance to connect and get stronger. Okay, let's really get into this.
First off, let's just get this out in the open. Having problems in a marriage is 100% normal. It's not a sign that you've failed. It's just a sign that two totally different human beings are trying to build one life together.
I really like this quote from therapist Megan Rice because it just feels so true, right? The idea that problems will ebb and flow. It's not a constant five-alarm fire. It's just the natural rhythm of being in a partnership.
And get this for some perspective. When those challenges feel like way too much to handle on your own, getting help actually works. Research suggests that couples therapy is effective for about 70% of couples who try it. The takeaway here is huge. Challenges are normal, and real solutions are out there.
All right, so let's start by looking inward at the problems that bubble up from inside the relationship itself. These are the ones that can feel super personal and really threatening if you don't tackle them head on.
Yeah, no big surprise with this one, right? This is the big kahuna. It's the root of so many other issues. But what does bad communication actually look like in real life?
Now, what's so smart about this breakdown is that it's not just about not talking. It's about not truly listening. It's about not taking responsibility for your side of things. And this is a big one. It's about not even making the time or finding the right space to have a real, healthy conversation in the first place. Okay, another major internal challenge is a lack of intimacy. And we're not just talking about the physical side of things. This is about connection, desire, and that feeling of being truly wanted by your partner.
This really gets to the core of it. When one person's needs or expectations are way different from the others, it can create this massive emotional gap. And because it's such a sensitive topic, if you can't talk about it openly, it can easily lead to one person feeling rejected and the other feeling resentful.
And then we have to talk about the one that strikes right at the heart of a partnership, infidelity. This is, without a doubt, one of the most painful things a couple can ever go through.
As you can see here, betrayal isn't always physical. An emotional affair can be just as devastating because it shatters that fundamental trust a relationship is built on. And notice that last point, emotional distance often comes first. It just goes to show you how all these internal problems can be linked together.
All right, so we've looked at the internal stuff. But it's not always just about what's happening between two people. Sometimes the world outside starts pushing in and testing the relationship.
This chart lays out 3 of the biggest culprits perfectly. Money, parenting styles, and even our smartphones can become these huge sources of conflict. But what I really love here are the simple, practical takeaways. A monthly finance date? Genius. Working to create a unified front with parenting? Crucial. Setting up tech-free zones? So necessary. These are real things you can do to fight back against those outside pressures.
But what happens when those internal struggles and all those external pressures just keep piling up? When the communication is gone and the foundation starts to really crack? Well, for many people, the journey leads to a very difficult destination.
Over 40%. Just let that sink in for a second. That's the estimated percentage of American children who will see their parents divorce or separate. This isn't just a number, it's a life-altering event that shapes the future for millions and millions of people.
Yeah, ending a marriage is a massive event, and it sends out ripple effects that touch the entire family.
So let's take a look at what the data actually shows. It's important to understand the documented, long-term impact that divorce has on everyone involved.
You can really see the contrast here. The research shows that for many kids, their parents' divorce can feel like the ground itself is breaking apart under their feet. Studies have linked this experience to some real challenges later in life, like a higher risk for mental health struggles and finding it harder to trust partners in their own future relationships.
And the impact isn't just psychological. The data points to some serious physical health consequences too.
Studies have connected divorce to higher risks for everything from substance abuse to strokes and heart problems, and even, believe it or not, a lower overall life expectancy. It's a pretty sobering look at just how deeply this event can affect a person.
But hold on, because the story isn't all one-sided. This quote from Constance Arendt's research shows a completely different outcome. For some people, watching their parents divorce becomes a powerful lesson in what not to do. It actually makes them more committed to their own future family. It's a really powerful reminder of our ability to learn and grow, even from the hardest experiences.
So, okay, we've seen the challenges and we've looked at some pretty heavy data. It can all feel like a lot. But the story doesn't stop there. Really, the most important part of this whole explainer is understanding that there are clear, concrete paths forward, not just to avoid the bad stuff, but to actually build a stronger, more resilient partnership.
Experts keep coming back to these 3 pillars, and they're way more powerful than they look. First, open communication. The trick here is that it's less about winning an argument and more about truly understanding a different perspective. Can you explain your partner's point of view back to them in a way they agree with? That's the real win. Second, boundaries. You know, a healthy relationship isn't about 2 people melting into one. It's about 2 whole, complete individuals choosing to be a team. Respecting that need for personal space is what stops a relationship from feeling suffocating. And third, knowing when to ask for help. It's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of courage. A therapist isn't there to pick a winner. They're there to give you both a toolkit to fix what's broken. These aren't just defensive moves. They are the absolute building blocks of a partnership that lasts.
And all of this brings us to one final thought. Every single relationship is going to face moments that feel like a breaking point. The real question is, what does it take to turn that moment into a turning point? A moment where you learn, you adapt, and you build something even stronger on the other side. Now that's something worth thinking about.